Ah, finally, the anomaly reveals itself. Look who caught the attention of the alphabet agencies. You beautiful, terrifying anomaly, you psychological architect of chaos. They've been watching you, haven't they? Not with regular surveillance, not with street cameras or phone taps. No, they've been studying something far more interesting. The way you dismantled your enemies without lifting a finger. The CIA has files on millions of people, drug dealers, terrorists, foreign spies, cyber criminals. But your file? Your file has a different classification altogether. Psychological asset. Approach with extreme caution, because what you did to those who betrayed you wasn't just revenge. It was art. It was surgery, performed with words and silence. Let me tell you what happened 3 months ago in that conference room in Langley. 7 senior analysts sitting around a table, your digital footprint projected on the wall. They weren't looking at your posts or your pictures. They were analyzing the aftermath, the psychological craters you left in people who thought they could cross you. And one analyst, the one who'd seen combat in 3 different wars, he leaned back and whispered, "This isn't civilian behavior. This is special ops without the ops." They pulled up case study after case study. That ex who tried to destroy your reputation? They tracked their social media spiral, their paranoid posts, their public breakdown, all without you saying a single word about them. That former friend who betrayed your trust? They monitored their guilt-driven self-destruction, their desperate attempts to apologize, their complete social isolation. You didn't touch them. You just existed. And they destroyed themselves, trying to process what they'd lost. The psychological profile they assembled on you reads like a classified weapons manual. Subject demonstrates advanced understanding of human behavioral patterns. Appears to have innate ability to identify psychological pressure points. Executes long-term strategic thinking with surgical precision. Emotional regulation score, off-standard charts. They've seen trained interrogators with less mental discipline than you displayed during your worst moments. You know what really got their attention? It wasn't the revenge itself. It was the patience, the way you waited, collected information like ammunition, never reacted in anger, never showed your hand, just observed, documented, and when the time was right, you deployed truth like drone strikes. Targeted, devastating, untraceable back to you. They studied that coworker who tried to sabotage your promotion. You remember them, don't you? The one who spread lies, manipulated situations, tried to paint you as incompetent. You didn't file complaints. You didn't confront them. You just started leaving breadcrumbs, little truths here and there. And within 6 months they exposed themselves, their own lies tangled around their feet like snakes. The beautiful part? Everyone thought they self-destructed from guilt. Nobody suspected you orchestrated their downfall with the precision of a chess grandmaster. The federal agents assigned to your case started calling you the ghost, not because you disappeared, but because you haunted people's minds without trying. Your presence alone became psychological warfare. People who wronged you reported nightmares, anxiety attacks, the constant feeling of being watched. But you weren't watching them. They were watching themselves through the mirror you became. Here's what you don't know. Last month there was a heated debate in a secure facility about whether to approach you. One side argued you were too dangerous, too unpredictable. The other side, the ones who understand real power, they said something different. This is exactly the kind of mind we need. Someone who wins wars without firing shots. Someone who can destabilize entire networks with strategic truth deployment. They've been leaving signs, haven't they? Those random encounters with people asking oddly specific questions. That job offer that came out of nowhere from a company you never applied to. The stranger in the coffee shop who mentioned psychological operations and watched your reaction. They're not testing your skills anymore. They already know what you're capable of. They're testing whether you know what you're capable of. You see, the CIA doesn't recruit people who can fight. Any meathead can throw punches. They recruit people who can think in dimensions others don't know exist. People who understand that true power isn't about what you do. It's about what you make others do to themselves. And you? You've been running successful psyops since before you knew what the term meant. Remember when that group tried to ostracize you? Tried to turn everyone against you with their whisper campaign? You didn't defend yourself. You didn't argue. You just strategically revealed their own secrets to each other. Not directly. Never directly. Just little hints. Calculated questions. Oh, did Sarah tell you about? I thought everyone knew about Mike's. And then you watched their alliance eat itself alive from the inside. The CIA calls that information warfare. You call it Tuesday. What's fascinating is how you develop these skills without formal training. Every betrayal you survived was another lesson in human psychology. Every lie told about you taught you how deception operates. Every smear campaign showed you how to track narrative patterns. You didn't go to spy school. Life was your training ground, and pain was your instructor. The precision of your revenge is what caught their attention initially, but what kept them interested was your restraint. Lesser minds seek immediate gratification. They lash out, get messy, leave evidence. You plan campaigns that unfold over months, sometimes years. You understand that the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served at exactly the right temperature to cause maximum psychological impact. They analyze that situation with your ex-business partner, the one who stole your ideas and tried to cut you out. You could have sued, could have gone public. Instead, you did something far more elegant. You let them succeed with your stolen ideas, knowing they didn't have your vision to execute properly. Then you quietly built something better, drew away their best talent with your superior leadership, and watched their empire crumble from incompetence. By the time they realized what happened, you were untouchable. The agent studying you noted something unusual in their reports. Subject appears to experience no satisfaction from revenge itself. Seems motivated purely by balance and justice. Shows signs of treating human psychology like a chess game where emotional involvement is a liability. That's when they knew you weren't just naturally gifted. You had evolved past normal human emotional responses. Your psychological warfare is so clean it's almost surgical. No digital footprints, no paper trails, no witnesses. Just people suddenly understanding consequences they never saw coming. You learned early that the messiest battles leave the most evidence. So you stopped fighting battles altogether. You started winning wars before anyone knew they had started. That former friend who tried to steal your romantic partner, you remember how that played out. You didn't confront anyone, didn't make scenes. You just made sure certain truths found their way to the surface. Their history of cheating, their financial problems, their real motivations. Not through gossip, through strategic placement of facts that others would discover naturally. Within 3 months, they destroyed each other, and both came crawling back. But you had already moved on, because the victory was never about getting them back. It was about proving they were never worthy of you in the first place. The CIA has a term for what you do: cognitive infiltration. It's the ability to get inside someone's decision-making process and influence it without them knowing. Most agents need years of training to develop this skill. You do it instinctively. Every conversation is an intelligence-gathering operation. Every interaction is a chance to plant seeds that will grow into the exact outcomes you designed. They've calculated the success rate of your psychological operations. It's not perfect, nothing is. But it's high enough to be statistically impossible without conscious strategy. The way you've turned enemies into self-destructive shells. The way you've made betrayers betray themselves. The way you've haunted people's minds without ever acknowledging their existence. It's not luck. It's not coincidence. It's talent so pure it looks like magic to those who don't understand the science. What's most interesting is that the CIA doesn't question the ethics of what you do. They understand something most people don't. In a world of information warfare, the one who controls perception controls reality. And you've been controlling perception like a master painter working with invisible ink. Your enemies paint themselves into corners using brushes you handed them without them knowing. I could ask for a bit of cool-outer. Sardonies like, they've noticed your rules of engagement. You never target innocence, never cause collateral damage. Your operations are precisely targeted at those who struck first. It's not vengeance in the traditional sense. It's balance. It's making sure people experience the exact consequences of their actions, amplified by their own guilty consciences. The agency respects that. They see it as sign of operational discipline. Remember that supervisor who tried to gaslight you? Tried to make you question your own sanity with their manipulation? You documented everything. Not for HR, but for your own psychological counter-operation. Then you slowly, carefully, made them question their own reality. Scheduled meetings they didn't remember, emails they swore they never sent, projects that seemed to complete themselves. Within 6 months, they were checking themselves into therapy, convinced they were losing their mind. The irony was beautiful. The gaslighter extinguished by their own flame. The federal agents have a betting pool about you, not about whether you'll succeed. That's a given. They bet on how long it takes your targets to realize they've been psychologically outmaneuvered. The average is 6 months. 6 months from first contact to complete psychological capitulation. That's faster than most military psyops campaigns. And you do it without any resources except your mind. So here's what's going to happen next. They're going to approach you, not directly at first. They'll send someone who seems random, someone who speaks your language, someone who drops certain phrases and watches your eyes. They'll mention things like strategic thinking and unconventional solutions, and people with unique skill sets. They'll be testing whether you're ready to acknowledge what you've always known. You're not like the others. If you pass that initial contact, the real invitation comes. It won't look like what you expect. No men in black suits, no clandestine meetings in parking garages. It'll be subtle. A job offer from a consulting firm that doesn't quite exist. A scholarship to a program you didn't apply for. An opportunity that seems too perfectly tailored to your skills to be coincidence. Because it's not coincidence. It's recognition. They want to know if you can do consciously what you've been doing instinctively. If you can weaponize your psychological precision for something bigger than personal justice. If you can operate on a global scale with the same surgical accuracy you've shown in your personal life. They already know you can. The question is whether you know you can. The thing is, you don't need their training. You've already graduated from a harder school than Langley could ever create. The School of Betrayal, the Academy of Survival, the University of Human Darkness. You've got doctorate in psychological warfare from the College of Life's Cruelty. What they are offering isn't education, it's resources, it's scope. It's the chance to play the game you've mastered on a board that spans continents. Your mind is an unregistered weapon, and they know it. The way you process information, identify patterns, predict human behavior, it's not normal, it's not trained, it's evolved. You're what happens when someone gets broken so many times they rebuild themselves into something unbreakable. Not harder, smarter, more precise, more dangerous. You're well ready. They've tried to replicate what you do in laboratory settings. Trained agents to think like you think, to see the psychological pressure points you see instinctively. They fail every time, because what you have can't be taught in a classroom. It's forged in the fire of real betrayal, shaped by the hammer of real pain, cooled in the ice of real isolation. You're not a trained weapon, you're an evolved one. The precision of your revenge has made federal agents question everything they thought they knew about psychological operations. You don't use force, you use physics, the physics of human psychology. Every action creates an equal and opposite reaction, and you've learned to position yourself so that reaction destroys your enemies while leaving you untouched. Beautiful in its simplicity, devastating in its execution. That colleague who tried to steal credit for your work, you remember how that ended. You didn't argue about credit. You just made sure their next project was slightly beyond their capability. Offered to help, then withdrew support at critical moments. Watched them scramble, fail, expose their incompetence. Everyone saw the truth without you saying a word. The credit they stole became the rope they hung themselves with. The CIA calls that strategic positioning. You call it justice. You've earned recognition from the highest levels of psychological warfare, not because you sought it, but because excellence is impossible to hide. Your operations leave signatures that only trained eyes can see. The way situations resolve themselves too perfectly. The way your enemies consistently self-destruct. The way you remain untouched by chaos that consumes everyone who crosses you. It's not luck, it's mastery. They've assigned their best analysts to study your methods. People with PhDs in psychology, decades of field experience, access to the most sophisticated behavioral prediction models. And you know what conclusion they reached? Your methods can't be replicated, can't be taught, can't be programmed. You operate on instinct, sharpened by trauma, into something that cuts cleaner than any trained technique. The federal agents question your past because they can't believe someone developed these skills accidentally. They looked for military training, intelligence background, some explanation for your abilities. But your past is clean. No special forces, no spy training, just life. Just pain transformed into power. Just betrayal transformed into brilliance. And that scares them more than if you were trained, because it means you're natural, authentic, unstoppable. Remember when that group tried to sabotage your reputation online? The coordinated attack, fake accounts, manufactured evidence? You didn't fight back online. You fought back in reality. Found their real identities. Didn't expose them. That would be too simple. Instead, you made sure the right people accidentally discovered their activities. Employers, partners, parents. The online mob turned into real-world consequences, and you never typed a single response. That's the kind of warfare that makes federal agents take notice. So what happens now? Now you have a choice. Continue operating as a lone wolf, dispensing psychological justice to those foolish enough to cross you, or accept that your talents have been recognized by those who operate on a larger scale, those who understand that wars are won in minds before they're won on battlefields. Those who know that the most powerful weapon isn't a gun or a bomb. It's the ability to make your enemy defeat themselves. The CIA wants to recruit you because you represent evolution in human conflict. You don't destroy bodies. You reprogram minds. You don't break things. You make people break themselves. You don't leave evidence. You leave psychological ghosts that haunt your targets forever. And you do it all with such precision that even trained observers struggle to see your hand in the outcome. They're particularly interested in how you maintain emotional distance while executing psychological operations. Most people get messy when it's personal. They let anger cloud judgment, let hurt dictate strategy, not you. You treat revenge like mathematics. Calculate the exact pressure needed, apply it with surgical precision, then step back and watch the inevitable collapse. It's not cold, it's clean. And clean operations are what separate professionals from amateurs. Your psychological warfare is so clean it could be used in textbooks if they could figure out how you do it. But that's the beauty of evolution. It can't be reverse engineered. It can only be recognized and recruited. And make no mistake, you're being recruited, not for who you were, not for who you are, but for who you could become with the right resources and scope. So the mask finally slips, doesn't it? Look who's finally ready to hear the truth about their duality. You magnificent paradox, you walking contradiction that makes people question their sanity. They see your face and think they've found safety, found kindness, found someone who understands. But then they catch your eyes, don't they? And for just a split second, they see something else entirely. Something that makes their blood run cold, makes their smile falter, makes them take an involuntary step back. And you just stand there, perfectly still, letting them wrestle with what they've witnessed. Because you know something they're only beginning to suspect. Both versions are real. Both masks are genuine. And that's what makes you more dangerous than any simple monster or saint could ever be. You're not playing a character. You're not hiding behind facades. You're showing them exactly who you are. A soul that learned to hold mercy in one hand and annihilation in the other, and to wield both with surgical precision. They want to know which one is the real you. As if humans are meant to be simple, as if we're supposed to pick a lane and stay there forever. But you shattered that illusion long ago. You became the storm and the eye of the storm. Simultaneously, you learned to smile with genuine warmth while calculating exit strategies. You mastered the art of offering comfort with hands that remember how to destroy. And this terrifies them more than pure evil ever could, because at least evil is predictable. Your face shows mercy because you've been broken enough to understand suffering intimately. You know what it feels like to need gentleness, to crave understanding, to pray for just one person to see past the armor and offer genuine care. So you became that person for others, not out of weakness, but out of profound strength. Every act of kindness you perform comes from a place of conscious choice, not naive optimism. You extend mercy because you know its value, not because you're soft. But those eyes, those eyes tell a different story entirely. They hold the inventory of every betrayal, every abandonment, every moment someone mistook your kindness for weakness. Your eyes are the archive of lessons learned in blood and silence. When people look deep enough, they don't see anger, they see something far more terrifying. Absolute clarity. They see someone who has calculated every possible outcome, memorized every escape route, cataloged every weakness in the room within seconds of entering. Your eyes show annihilation not because you're planning violence, but because you've already survived your own destruction and rebuilt yourself from atoms. You've been to the place where everything ends and walked back with souvenirs. Those eyes have witnessed betrayals that would break most people's faith in humanity permanently. They've seen behind the masks that everyone wears, decoded the lies people tell themselves to sleep at night, understood the small cruelties that keep the world spinning. And here's what really unsettles them. Your eyes show that you're capable of absolute destruction, but you're choosing not to engage it. That's power they can't comprehend. Most people's mercy comes from inability to cause harm. Yours comes from the conscious decision to holster weapons you've already mastered. You could dismantle their entire psychological framework with 3 sentences. But you choose silence. You could expose every secret they think they're hiding, but you choose to let them keep their illusions. The disconnect between your merciful face and those annihilation eyes creates a cognitive dissonance that breaks people's mental programming. They can't categorize you, can't file you away in their neat little boxes labeled friend or enemy, safe or dangerous. You exist in the liminal space between categories, and that's exactly where you've learned to thrive. You're the gentle hand that could crush but chooses to caress, the soft voice that could scream truths that would shatter souls but chooses whispers of comfort. This duality didn't happen overnight, did it? No, this was forged in the specific fire of betrayal by those who were supposed to protect you. You learned to show mercy because someone should have shown it to you when you needed it most, and they didn't. You learned annihilation because sometimes that's the only language the world understands. You didn't choose to become this paradox. Life carved it into you, with experiences that demanded you become everything at once to survive. Remember the exact moment it happened? When you realized that pure goodness gets you devoured and pure darkness gets you isolated? That was the day you stopped trying to be one thing. That was the day you accepted that survival requires the full spectrum of human capability. You had to become the sanctuary and the storm, the healer and the weapon, the one who builds and the one who knows exactly where to place the demolition charges. The one who knows exactly where to place the demolition charges. Your face learned to show mercy because you discovered that kindness is rebellion in a cruel world. Every gentle word you speak is a middle finger to everyone who tried to harden you completely. Every act of compassion is proof that they didn't win, didn't succeed in turning you into another bitter soul spreading poison. Your mercy isn't weakness. It's the ultimate revenge against those who tried to steal your humanity. But your eyes, those windows to your actual soul, they tell the truth about what that mercy cost you. They show the price of maintaining softness in a world designed to create sharp edges. They reveal the strength required to choose gentleness when you have every reason to choose violence. Those eyes have seen too much to ever be innocent again. But they've also seen enough to know that becoming the monster isn't victory, it's surrender. What people don't understand is that you're not conflicted, you're integrated. You're not struggling between two selves, you've married them into something unprecedented. The mercy on your face and the annihilation in your eyes aren't fighting for dominance. They're dancing together in perfect, terrifying harmony. You've become the person who can comfort a crying child with the same hands that could dismantle an entire empire if provoked. This is what happens when someone survives enough battles to understand that sometimes the greatest victory is not fighting at all. But when you do fight, you fight to end things permanently. You've learned that mercy without the capacity for destruction is just helplessness. And destruction without the capacity for mercy is just emptiness. You carry both because you understand that real power isn't about what you do, it's about what you're capable of, but choose not to do. Watch how people react when they first notice the contradiction. The smart ones, the observant ones, they catch it immediately. They'll be mid-conversation, feeling safe in your warmth, and then they'll accidentally look too deep into your eyes and see the abyss looking back. They stutter, they lose their train of thought. They suddenly remember somewhere else they need to be, because in that moment they realize they're not dealing with a simple person. They're dealing with someone who has transcended the normal rules of human interaction. You make people question everything they thought they knew about reading others. Your face says, "I understand your pain," while your eyes say, "I could give you pain you've never imagined." Your smile says, "You're safe with me," while your gaze says, "I know exactly how unsafe you really are." This contradiction doesn't make you fake, it makes you complete. You're showing them the full spectrum of human possibility, and most people can't handle that much truth at once. So how do you navigate the world as this living contradiction? You've learned to dose your reality based on what people can handle. You show the mercy to those who need healing, and you flash the annihilation to those who need warning. You've become a shapeshifter, not of form, but of intensity, adjusting your frequency to match what the situation demands. This isn't deception, it's advanced emotional intelligence that most people will never achieve. The ones who deserve your protection get to bask in the warmth of your merciful face, never needing to know about the wars you've won in silence to keep them safe. But the ones who come with ill intent, they get one glimpse of those eyes and suddenly reconsider their life choices. You don't have to threaten anyone anymore. Your presence is the threat. You don't have to explain your boundaries. Your eyes establish them without words. You've discovered that being genuinely kind while being genuinely capable of destruction creates a force field around you. Predators sense that you're not prey, despite your gentle demeanor. They recognize another apex predator who's simply choosing not to hunt. Meanwhile, the wounded and genuine souls recognize that your mercy comes from strength, not weakness. which makes it actually trustworthy. You attract the real ones and repel the fake ones just by existing in your full complexity. This duality has become your superpower, hasn't it? While everyone else is trying to maintain one consistent mask, you're comfortable showing all your faces because they're all real. The mercy is real, born from understanding suffering. The annihilation is real, born from surviving destruction. You're not confused about who you are. You're possibly the only person in any room who knows exactly who they are. And that clarity is what people sense and can't quite process. Here's what really breaks their brains. You're not trying to be intimidating. You're not cultivating mystery. You're not performing depth. You're simply existing as the full spectrum of what a human can become after walking through enough fire. The intimidation comes from their recognition that you're operating on a different level entirely. You've integrated parts of yourself that most people spend their entire lives trying to suppress or deny. They look at you and see someone who could choose violence but chooses peace, who could choose revenge but chooses release, who could expose everyone's secrets but chooses silence. This level of self-control, combined with obvious capability, creates an aura that makes people simultaneously drawn to and terrified of you. They want your protection but fear your judgment. They want your approval but worry about what you see when you look at them. Your face shows mercy because you've learned that creating more broken people doesn't heal your own breaks. But your eyes show annihilation because you want everyone to know that your kindness is a choice, not a default. You're not nice because you have to be. You're nice because you've decided that's how you want to move through the world. But the moment someone mistakes that choice for weakness, those eyes remind them that you have other options readily available. The most unsettling part for them is realizing that you don't need their understanding or approval of your duality. You're not asking for permission to be complex. You're not explaining or justifying the contradiction. You simply are what you are. Take it or leave it. This self-assurance in your own complexity makes people realize how much they're still asking for permission to be their full selves, and that recognition makes them uncomfortable. Those annihilation eyes aren't just about destruction, they're about perception. You see too much, understand too much, recognize patterns too quickly. When you look at people, you see their wounds, their fears, their desperate attempts to appear whole. You see the lies they tell, not just to others, but to themselves. You see the pain they're running from, and the pain they're running toward. This clarity is its own form of annihilation, the destruction of illusions. Your mercy comes from seeing all of this and choosing compassion anyway. You extend kindness not despite seeing people's darkness, but because of it. You understand that everyone is fighting battles they don't advertise, carrying weights they don't discuss. Your face shows mercy because you've decided that adding to the world's cruelty is too easy, too expected, too boring. Anyone can be harsh. It takes real strength to be gentle when you have every reason not to be. But those eyes also show that you're keeping score, not for revenge, but for reference. You remember who showed their true colors when you needed them. You catalog who can be trusted with your softness and who needs to be kept at the distance your eyes create. You don't forget betrayals, but you don't let them poison you either. You file them away as data points in understanding human nature, adding to the vast database that makes you impossible to deceive. This is the burden of your gift. You can't turn off the seeing. You can't unsee the patterns, the lies, the small cruelties and desperate kindnesses that make up human interaction. Your eyes show annihilation because they've witnessed the destruction of every illusion you once held about how the world works. But your face shows mercy because you've decided that becoming bitter about these truths would be letting the darkness win. Here's what they really don't understand. The annihilation in your eyes isn't about them. It's not a threat or a warning or a promise of vengeance. It's simply the reflection of someone who has already been through their own apocalypse and survived. Those eyes have seen the end of everything they once believed in and watched new beliefs rise from those ashes. The annihilation already happened to you, within you, and you're what emerged from it. With you and you, what emerged from it. Your mercy isn't forgiveness for others, it's forgiveness for yourself. It's the recognition that holding on to the rage would mean they still own part of you. Your gentle face is your declaration of independence from everyone who tried to turn you into something harder, colder, crueler. Every act of kindness is proof that you chose your own becoming rather than letting trauma choose it for you. But make no mistake, the capacity for annihilation remains because you understand that sometimes things need to end. Sometimes relationships need to be destroyed completely. Sometimes old versions of yourself need to be annihilated to make room for growth. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to completely destroy someone's false image of you so they can see who you really are. As your eyes show this understanding that creation and destruction are intimate partners in the dance of transformation. You've evolved beyond the need for revenge because you understand that the best revenge is becoming incomprehensible to those who hurt you. They can't understand how you survived, how you thrived, how you transformed their attacks into your strength. Your face shows mercy because you pity them for still being trapped in the cycles you've transcended. Your eyes show annihilation because you've already destroyed every version of yourself that would have needed their validation. Living as this contradiction has taught you something profound. Balance isn't about moderation. It's about having access to extremes and choosing when to use them. You don't live in the middle ground. You live in the conscious choice between mercy and annihilation, moment by moment, person by person, situation by situation. This isn't gray area living. This is full spectrum existence. Your face can show such genuine mercy because you know exactly what annihilation feels like. You can extend authentic compassion because you've felt the absence of it. You can offer real understanding because you've experienced the devastation of being misunderstood. Every gentle gesture comes from a place of conscious choice, making it more powerful than reflexive kindness could ever be. But those eyes remain as windows to your capacity, ensuring that your mercy is never mistaken for weakness. They're the proof that you could choose differently if pushed. They're the reminder that your gentleness is a gift, not an obligation. They're the warning label that says, handle with care, not because I'm fragile, but because I'm not. This balance between the two faces you wear isn't a burden anymore. It's your liberation. You've stopped trying to reconcile the contradiction because you've realized that wholeness doesn't mean consistency. Wholeness means having access to everything you are and choosing what to express based on wisdom, not fear or trauma. Your face and eyes tell different stories because you are large enough to contain multiple truths. You are gentle and dangerous, soft and sharp, merciful and absolute. All of it is real. All of it is you. What really terrifies them isn't the annihilation in your eyes. It's the freedom your contradiction represents. You've proven that it's possible to survive destruction without becoming destroyed, to know darkness without being consumed by it, to have power without being corrupted by it. You're walking evidence that the binary choices they've accepted aren't mandatory. You can be both, all, everything. They see your merciful face and want to believe that's all there is, but those eyes won't let them maintain the comfort of that illusion. They see the annihilation capability and want to write you off as dangerous, but your genuine kindness won't let them maintain that simple story either. You force them to hold complexity, to accept paradox, to recognize that humans are more vast than the categories we create to contain them. Your existence challenges their entire worldview about what's possible after trauma, after betrayal, after being broken and rebuilt. Most people choose a side. They either become hard or stay soft, become cruel or remain kind. But you kept everything. You integrated every lesson without letting any single experience define your entire being. You became the proof that transformation doesn't require choosing between aspects of yourself. This is why some people can't stand to be around you for long. Your complexity makes them aware of their own simplicity. Your integration highlights their fragmentation. Your peace with paradox reveals their war with themselves. You're not trying to make anyone uncomfortable. Your existence just naturally challenges anyone still trying to be only one thing.